U.S. Customs and Border Protection. They're saying that it's overwhelmed by a record number of migrants crossing that southern border. It's a story that we have been on top of for a few months now, and it's not looking like it's going away anytime soon. This latest breakdown we have courtesy of Fox News correspondent Griff Jenkins.
The crisis at the southern border is intensifying, with tens of thousands of migrants crossing every week. Even more lined up at the border, and the numbers are telling the story. In August, Customs and Border Protection reported more than 232,000 migrant encounters, the highest on record, bringing the annual total to just over 2.2 million. Border cities like Eagle Pass and El Paso are now completely overwhelmed, and they're turning to state and federal officials for help.
The city of El Paso only has so many resources, and we have come to what we look at a breaking point right now.
The new surge could prompt more congressional action. On Monday, Congressman Tony Gonzalez, who represents Eagle Pass, is leading a delegation to meet with overworked border protection officers and see the crisis firsthand, warning the problem is spreading well beyond the border states.
Things continue to get worse locally. And oh, by the way, these people aren't staying in Texas. They're going to all parts of the country. So today it's Eagle Pass. Tomorrow it's your city.
But it's not clear what, if anything, could act as a deterrent to the thousands of migrants massed at the border. They say they're determined to cross into the U.S., and they won't stop trying until they get here.
Despite the risk we take, I would say we have no alternatives until we reach our destination.
Over the weekend, U.S. Border Patrol Chief Jason Owens met with officials in Mexico working on ways to secure the border from both sides. In Eagle Pass, Texas, Griff Jenkins, Fox News.
And here I wanted to bring up a tweet from Griff Jenkins, who we just heard from. It says, breaking CBP sources tell Fox News there were approximately 11,000 migrant encounters at the southwest border in the last 24 hours, marking the, quote, single highest day in recent memory. In Eagle Pass alone, there were more than 4,000 from Friday through Sunday. That was the weekend. Another tweet from Griff showing this video. Take a look. Fox News sources capture stunning new video of hundreds more of migrants making their way on top of trains, some waving a Venezuelan flag en route to the U.S. border in Eagle Pass, Texas. And then finally, this tweet from Bill Malusian, also showcasing a video here, and it says, new video courtesy of Texas Congressman Representative Tony Gonzalez, showing the inside of a Border Patrol tent processing center in Eagle Pass on Friday when he visited. He says the facility capacity is 1,000, but when he was there, 4,600 migrants were in custody. And again, this is from Bill Malusian, also a correspondent with Fox. Well, Representative Tony Gonzalez also at the border, Eagle Pass, Texas, earlier today, joined by other lawmakers to continue to bring to light this situation happening there and all of the migrants crossing over into the U.S. Let's listen to some more of those remarks.
Covering this. It's important for us to not only talk about the border, but actually visit it and be here, see it firsthand. I'm a retired Navy Master Chief. I spent 20 years in the Navy, and I learned a long time ago it's time to lead, follow, or get out of the way. And House Republicans are leading, and it's time for Joe Biden to get out of the way. If he gets out of the way, we can solve this border crisis. A big part of that crisis is ensuring that we enforce the laws that are already on the books. Another part of it, big reason why we're here today, many of my colleagues from the Texas delegation, Jody Arrington was here earlier, August Pfluger was here earlier, Ronnie Jackson, Morgan Moran, Judge Moran, all from Texas, and Brandon Williams from New York. A big part of this was showing up. Showing up is important. You know, our agents that are doing the work, we spoke with some sheriffs earlier today. The law enforcement that's doing the work, they need to know that House Republicans have their back, and we will do everything possible to secure this border. The other part of it, too, is you can't let an open border just happen without any repercussions. There has to be repercussions. If somebody comes over illegally, which everyone who is crossing that river, everyone who's crossing in between a port of entry is coming over illegally. They should not be rewarded. They should not be rewarded rewarded with work visas. There should not be rewarded with free bus rides and plane tickets everywhere. There has to be repercussions. Imagine if you've done it the legal route. Imagine if you're a doctor in India and you submitted for a work visa, and who cuts you in the line? Someone from Venezuela. Imagine if you're a nurse from the Philippines and you've done it the right way and you've submitted for a work visa, but someone from Cuba cuts you in line. It's absolutely wrong. A big part of us coming down as House Republicans is to show up. Showing up matters. It's not just words, it's action. When we get back to Washington, we're going to push for many things. One of the things that I've pushed in particular for is for us to take up the Homeland Appropriations bill. I think that's extremely important. In that bill, many of us have pushed to end catch and release. Ending catch and release is absolutely fundamental to securing this border. I have an amendment in that bill. I hope that passes and get through. It's pretty simple. If we want to secure the border, it's pretty damn simple what we have to do. We have to enforce the Trump policies that worked. The border was secure under President Trump for a reason, because he enforced the laws that were already there. It doesn't take rocket scientists to us to get back to that. The other part of it, too, we have to give resources to the places that aren't getting resources. On Friday, I visited the local hospital here. The local hospital is spending $100,000 a month on health care for folks that are coming over illegally. That's over $1 million. You heard from Eagle Pass Mayor Salinas earlier that he feels abandoned. You know, many people of us who live along the border feel abandoned. I'm grateful for the delegation to come down to be part of this. I'm honored to have led it and help put this together. We saw many things today, including the processing center. We spoke with many different people. It's about showing up and it's about action. And with that, I'll turn it over to my good friend from Texas, Ronnie Jackson.
Thank you, Tony. Well, I just want to, I want to start by saying that this is an absolute national embarrassment. Look around here. Every single member of Congress should come down, including all the Democrats, and see the chaos on the Texas border right now. This is a national security issue. This is an economic issue, a national economic disaster for our country, and this is a public health disaster right now. You know who else should come down here? The border czar. Kamala Harris should come down here. Has she been down here? Has she seen this? I know she did a photo op in El Paso not too long ago, or it's been a while. Come down here and see what's going on down here. This is crazy. 233,000 people in the month of August. 11,000 people just yesterday. This is insane. These people are coming up here. They're trying to transit through this concertina wire. And, right now we have a situation where the Biden administration has literally tied the hands of the Border Patrol. They've boxed them in. So Border Patrol is coming out here and they're cutting the concertina wire to let these people through, the wire that the Texas Department of Public Safety has put up. But the reason they're doing that is because these people are making it to shore and they're being trapped between the shore and the concertina wire. So that was the point, to act as a deterrent so that people wouldn't come over here. But now the wire's being cut because the Biden administration is dictating that they do so, and people are coming over here despite the concertina wire because they know they're going to get through, because there's areas in the wire where they can come through. Nothing has changed here except for this. The numbers are going through the roof right now. This is absolutely ridiculous. We went to a detention or a processing facility just now, and they told us that the facility was made for 1,000 people. It has 5,000 people that they're processing that facility today. 5,000 people almost today. 70% of those are unaccompanied males. 70% of that number. This is crazy what's going on right now, and I cannot believe that the Biden administration is not only letting this happen, they are facilitating it. They are actively working hand in hand with the Mexican cartels to create the disaster that's coming to this country. And I'll tell you right now, we are in trouble. You just wait and see what's going to happen over the next few years if this continues. The crime and things of that nature are just going to go through the roof. Not to mention the resources, right? I'm all about. I'm not a cold-hearted individual. I know that we need immigrants to make this country the way it is. It's what built this country to start with. But we need a legal, orderly process. This is not it. People here in this country, they pay taxes. They pay state taxes. They pay federal taxes. They pay local and county taxes so that they can have access to hospitals and schools and things of that nature. Right here, I've already heard from people in this community, a community of 28,000 that's dealing with thousands and thousands of people a day coming into their community. They can't get care at their local hospitals because the hospitals are overwhelmed with immigrants coming into this country. This has to stop. We have to do something about it, and I'm begging Democrats and Republicans alike in the House and in the Senate to come up here and see what we're seeing today. And I'm demanding that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and the rest of the folks in the White House get up here and see what's happening and fix this problem now. Thank you.
So I'm here at Eagle Pass today at our southern border. Southern border saw 11,000 illegal immigrants cross over just in the last 24 hours since I have been on this trip. Some are families and small children, but the vast majority are unaccompanied young men, and many that I spoke with last night are from Venezuela. But every migrant that I've spoken to have said that they are headed to a sanctuary city: Minneapolis, Houston, New York City, and California, a sanctuary state. New York City and every sanctuary city is one of the key root causes of this migrant crisis. Progressive fantasies of sanctuary cities, free health care, cashless bail, and coming soon to New York State, immediate work status. This will turn every community where I live in central New York and across America into border cities, much like I've seen here in the last 24 hours. Residents of our border towns have told me today that their hospitals are overwhelmed, their schools are overwhelmed, and at every gas station and convenience store, there are vagrant men asking for money. Law enforcement officers need help. They're asking for help. Today over lunch, a local county deputy told me that they are being overwhelmed by this crisis. This border crisis is consuming our federal Border Patrol resources. They have no officers to interdict the tens of thousands of migrants that are coming over, not turning themselves in to be documented and to seek asylum, but that are actually actively avoiding being touch points with American officials and American law enforcement. Why? It's very likely because they have a criminal past and that they have crossed the borders many times or are wanted here in the United States. We have no resources to go after this crisis and for the gotaways, as they call them, that are getting into our country. To end this border crisis, we must end the progressive fantasies that ignore the law and ignore the will of the American people. Thank you.
What's your name?
Brandon Williams, New York's 22nd District.
Good afternoon. My name is Nathaniel Moran. I represent the 1st District of Texas, which is Northeast Texas. My home is Tyler in the Piney Woods of East Texas, and I can tell you the border issue is the #1 issue that my constituents talk to me about. I so appreciate the leadership of Congressman Tony Gonzalez and in bringing this Codell here. This is the second Codell I've been with him to the border, and each time I am struck by the importance of what we're doing here. I want to focus my first part of my comments on the appropriations process. Many of you know we're just a week away or less than a week away from a potential government shutdown. Lots of debate in Congress right now about what we need to do with appropriations. I'm going to urge all of my colleagues, both Republicans and Democrats, that as we go through this appropriations process, we need to focus on border security. It needs to be the very most important thing that we do in this appropriations process. We get caught up way too much day to day in the short term and in the small arguments. We need to look long term and understand if we do not fix this problem and reverse this trend, we're going to see this invasion continue. Some of the things that struck me as I walked around today, both right here on the border and then at the processing facility that we were at, is just the sheer numbers of individuals that are coming and the conditions they're coming under. Many coming by train, offloading by the hundreds here and then stationed below the bridge. And then
just wanted to get into some of these comments made earlier today. Representative Gonzalez and also other lawmakers there in Eagle Pass, Texas, where that border is, and just the concern that all of these local leaders are having with the influx of migrants coming in. We know that last week President Biden did just redesignate that TPS status, temporary protective status, for Venezuelans, and that is going to allow about 500,000 of Venezuelan migrants in the U.S. apply for a work permit.